Okay, welcome back to the third and final match here with Mardu Pyromancer. Thanks so much for watching if you've been watching the last two videos. Anyways, let's get right into it then. We won the die roll. We would love to play first. Let's take a look at this opener. We got a lot of removal and a Bedlam Reveler. I mean, in the dark, this could just be so dead against so many decks. I'm gonna mulligan that. I think we can do better with a 6-card hand, and I think this is a better 6-card hand, right? We have something proactive to do on turn 3, on turn 2, and on turn 1. Reveler. I don't think this is the time for Reveler. I do think, however, we will lead on Faithless Looting. Probably pitch one of these Blood Moons. This Dreadbore. Now we have a curve. Right, we have Young Pyromancer into Blood Moon. Cavern of Souls. Okay. Elf. Well, Blood Moon is probably not doing too much against Elves of Deep Shadow, huh? Just go ahead and get Pyromancer down. We don't have a removal spell for this elf, so we'll do our best with what we have here. That's an Elvish Mystic, so they're setting up their mana pretty well here. We could stick a Blood Moon that might do some work here. I think I'm actually okay with that, sticking a Blood Moon. I could dig for both. They're clearly stuck on these many green sources. Interesting that they didn't attack with their Elves of Deep Shadow. I guess because they are stuck on mana. Why would they not lead on Elvish Mystic, though? Yeah, that's... Manowar Elves. Okay. Sure. Question, do I block? Probably not. K-Command. K-Command, huh? Do I want a looting first is the question. I don't think so. I think I just want to go ahead and I don't want to let them untap with Coco mana. Oh, whoa. That's not what I want to do. Make them discard. Make them kill that one. And that lets me attack this turn. That gets me another instant and sorcery in the yard. So Reveler now costs 5. And looting will hopefully help it cost 4 or even 3 in a couple turns. And we could be in a good spot if we can keep our opponent off of some mana here. Obviously, we'll get in for 2 damage. Elves is the kind of deck where you want to apply a clock as fast as you can. Because if you give them too much time, they'll find their forest, they'll find all their creatures. I think worst case scenario here would be like Heritage Druid somehow. Shaman of the Pack. Yeah, Domi for 3, that's it? Ooh. I kind of want to play this Pyromancer and then looting, but it also means that no matter what I draw off of the looting, it means I will probably discard it because I want to keep Reveler in my hand. But I think getting the double triggers here is just nuts. And now we have Reveler set up for next turn. And I'm actually just okay, I think. No, you know what? I'm not okay giving up this Pyromancer. I think this Pyromancer will win the game if left unchecked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Ooh, alright, so this is the rough part of not, like, looting first. Because then we're getting hit by Nettle Sentinel into our opponent essentially going off. And that's rough. Not necessarily sure. Like, if we can kill the Heritage Druid, we might be okay. Actually, we might just have to kill the Elvish Archdruid at this point. Force them to commit mana by tapping their creatures, and I'm actually okay trading one of these Pyromancers for one of these Nettle Sentinels at this point. I think their creatures are more important. Yeah. And I think they see that too. And maybe I should have even attacked the last turn then. trading for their Shaman of the Pack, because they probably would not have blocked. So that's another Heritage Druid. Yep. This could get scary. They have 3 cards left in hand. They could easily have a spell that's gas. I mean, obviously they're not playing lands, so Collected Company, yep. 6 looks at the best cards in their deck. Phew. Oh my god. Yep, well. And they can still go off. They can keep going. They can. Wow. Maybe I should have Brutality that one turn. Jeez, now I'm getting domed for 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. I go to 6. If we can get rid of one of these Archdruids, we might be okay. That's a big maybe. Oh my god, do they have like another Collected Company? Lead the Stampede. Oh my god. Alright. Let's contain our enthusiasm here. Oh wow, all they found was a Nettle Sentinel? That's great for us. Here I think we want to play this land first. He costs 2. So the question is, what mana do we want to leave open? Do we want to leave it open double red? I think we don't. I think there's a small chance that we need to chain Revelers at this point. Wow. Ugh. Next turn we might have an okay turn, but right now we're in damage control very clearly. We're going to have to do a lot of chumping. This Reveler might be able to trade for something. So it's definitely holding back the Elvish Archdruids at the very least. So if our opponent could just draw a land for 1 turn. Wow, attack with everything. Okay. It's a bold play. Very bold play. I think we do 1 block here. Chump these guys. Chump here. Chump here. Chump here. Chump here. Chump here. Take 4. Is that greedy? I don't think so. Yeah, so that worked the way we wanted it to. Next turn we can kind of reload the board. And we have a Collective Brutality. So the 4th Young Pyromancer. Flashback looting. Get both of our triggers. Always yield. I think at this point we want to keep Collective Brutality in order to gain some life. 1, 2, 3. So I don't think we can attack here. Hopefully they don't draw like Court of Calling or something. I guess they can't. Can they cast Court of Calling? I don't think they can. If they could just draw a land for 1 turn. Attack all. Chump. Actually, I kind of want to keep 1 Pyromancer around. Is that greedy? It might be a little bit greedy. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this. Wow, that's a great mill to that too. I mean, a great pitch the Lingering Souls, gain 2 life, swing with Reveler. And that's what I call stabilizing. I think they're dead here. Could be wrong. Not sure they have a draw. Wow, I can't believe we came back from that board. I think our opponent made some pretty pretty bad attacks, excuse me. And we were able to capitalize that with some pretty good blocks. And I'm not even sure I was optimal with those blocks, you know, so. But I tried. So Blood Moon was great in that game, but I don't think we want to, you know. When I say great, wow, was it even that great? I mean, they had one land the whole game. Was Blood Moon even that great? It wasn't. Kambal's a blocker and gains life in response to certain things, but excuse me, I think we just want to basically capitalize on what we do best in this matchup, which is kill stuff, make blockers, and draw cards. Let's go ahead and submit. Again, I like to keep in one Blood Moon here and there. I think it could, you know, get some kind of be a getcha effect. This is a great hand. Well, it's not great. I take that back. But we have interaction. We have a payoff. That's really important. Elves of Deep Shadow, I didn't know was standard in their build. Well, draw one Reveler. That's not great. Not great. Okay. They have a lot of good stuff in their hand. A lot of good threes. I kind of want to take Lead the Stampede. I don't know how greedy that is. Dwynen's Elite means we're going to be up against the wall here. Maybe I'm just supposed to take Dwynen's Elite. Yeah. Slow them down a little bit. Give us time to actually draw something because our hand is not great. If we can answer these 3-drops 1 for 1 and then find another discard spell for Lead the Stampede. It looks like they might have found something else to do with their mana. We're going to attack for 2. Give oh, okay. Interesting shock. I'm actually going to save this EE. I don't think right now is when I want to use it. Misclick. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Again, I want to save this Dreadbore for them inevitably casting one of these 3 drops next turn. I apologize if you guys are hearing some background noise. My computer is working hard right now. Alright, Elvish Archdruid. Makes sense. I guess we'll just go ahead and fetch a Sacred Foundry right now. Take the hit here. I think it was, Brutality, I think was the perfect draw. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I think... Wow. Let's go ahead and discard one of these extra Revelers. Because we want to be able to Dreadbore the Azuri. Shaman of the Pack. Okay, well, I mean, look, if there's... I guess maybe I want to get this on 1 right now. Yeah, if I want to be able to clear the board next turn. Sure. So we can kill the Azuri. Ooh. Is that just better? That feels just better, doesn't it? That means we're taking an extra drain here, but getting this Pyromancer down early. Alright, Dwynen's Elite. Not bad. They want to attack here. I think we'll chump. See, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3 in the yard. So we can do it next turn. With the land, yeah. Man, so our opponent is definitely has some live draws here to get back into it. Let's go ahead and blow that up right now. It means we take yeah, I think we have to trade Pyro here. I guess maybe I shouldn't have played that land. It means that maybe I can draw like land plus Bolt. Or a land plus Fatal Push. Yeah, alright. I mean, we could be dead here. Opponent draws a land, which makes me feel like they probably have like a Coco in hand. Metal Sentinel. Can't really attack. Do I Thoughtseize? I think I do. I think there's a good chance they're sitting on that. A Shaman. Okay, alright. I'm feeling good about this. There's an argument to hold that land, actually. I wanted to play both sides of my souls and keep up Fatal Push here. Because we're going to have to start getting aggressive. We can't just sit back this whole game. Yeah, we actually have to close it out. Because, again, they could just draw Coco, they could just draw another Shaman, and we're dead. Alright, but they drew a land. So that's really good for us. Alright, so essentially we can trade for their whole board right now. Maybe I don't want to block there. Is there a better way to do this? Not really. I'm going to have to double block one of these to make this work. But maybe I can just take the hit from the Elvish. Or maybe I could just go to 1 and clear their whole board. Oh wait, no. I can just Fatal Push this. What am I saying? I was trying to like enable Revolt in my head. But now their whole board is clear. We have some live draws, they have some live draws. That is, yeah, I would argue that's a live draw. That even stops like a Shaman of the pack. This is a 4-turn, or is it? It's like a 3-turn clock. We don't have any lootings in the yard, do we? Are they? They're not dead this turn. Well, they are dead if they don't block, right? So they go to, this one's a 4. Yeah. I guess this forces them to respect Lightning Bolt. Oh wow, no blocks? Alright. Good game, buddy. Woo! Oh man. And that's how you take care of elves, boys and girls. Wow. That is 3-0 with Mardu Pyromancer. We beat Jund, Grixis Shadow, and Elves. Alright, so stay tuned for some closing comments coming up in just a second. I'll see you guys soon. Alright, what is up guys? Welcome back to the closing comments here with Mardu Pyromancer. So this is the first time that I think, I could be wrong, I've probably forgotten something, but I think this is the first time I've played a non-blue deck on my channel. So a deck that does not have islands in them, basically. And I gotta say, Mardu Pyromancer is one of the most competitive decks in Modern right now, and it's one of my favorite decks to play, and the reason I really enjoyed playing it, and hopefully as you saw through those 3 matches, is that your decisions are so important. Every single decision you make, from the lands that you play, to the cards that you discard with Faceless Looting, to the order in which you cast your spells, it all matters so much, and it's really rewarding when you really maximize your percentages to win each match with the cards that you draw. I think there's not many decks in Modern that you can say that, wow, I truly felt like I had control over most of the things that happened that match. I chose what I could play around. I chose what I could beat, or how I could sequence my spells to beat a certain draw, or to sequence my spells to maximize the power of my own deck. I think in Modern there's a lot of linearity, and this is a great way to kind of, interact with your opponent in the Modern metagame right now. With that said, you're not just interacting, your cards are inherently powerful. Again, I think the things that I mentioned in the introduction, that, Faithless Looting, discard spells, bolts, fatal pushes, these are all just like some of the most powerful cards in Modern at 1 mana, right? And then when you go to the 2 mana slot, right, Collective Brutality, I mean, some people may disagree with me, but I think this is one of the most powerful spells printed in the past, year and a half, 2 years, whenever that came out. That I feel like Collective Brutality is just insane. And it's even more powerful when you can abuse the discard modes. I remember seeing Dredge play, versions of Dredge playing Collective Brutality, and I used to play control decks, so like Blue-White Control, Jeskai Control, and not only is Dredge just a horrible matchup, but the fact that now they were playing Collective Brutality just made me think, okay, wow, this card is really powerful because it's never dead in the right deck, right? So not only can you discard cards that are dead for a certain matchup, you can turn them into relevant modes, right? Almost every deck plays an instant or sorcery. Almost every match you're trying to get your opponent to 0 life, and most decks have creatures, but not all, right? And the fact that it's a drain mode, I think even, let's go over this, but I think it can even get past like cards like Worship, which we probably have a tough time dealing with outside of our Wear Tears in the sideboard, right? So it's just such a powerful card, and I think it deserves a bit more love. Obviously, Young Pyromancer, Dreadbore, Terminate do some great work. I do like the split between Dreadbore and Terminate, while that the sorcery speed doesn't usually get you, because you're a deck that's okay at playing sorcery speed, because you usually want to maximize the amount of triggers you get from Young Pyromancer anyways, without your opponent interacting. So ultimately, I think the split is good, and I don't think it came up in these 3 matches here where Dreadbore was relevant in terms of killing a Planeswalker, but it comes up. I have killed Teferis, I have killed Jaces, I have killed Lilianas. It's absolutely a great card. Again, Blood Moon. Blood Moon is Blood Moon. I think you can play 0 copies. I think you can play up to 3 copies in this deck. Personally, I enjoy Blood Moon because there's a lot of free wins that come out of it. You really, especially on the play, can shut down so many strategies that you normally have trouble with. It really lets you be the grindiest deck out there. So you shut off your opponent's mana, but you're still grinding just as well. You don't need your lands to fetch away a Brainstorm, you don't need your man lands to get in damage in the late game, right? Your whole deck just circulates around the graveyard, which again makes you susceptible to graveyard hate. However, I think the power is that, this deck's mana base is so smooth that it can afford to play one of the most powerful cards in Modern, which I think is Blood Moon. 3 Kolaghan's Commands, I think they're so important because you just pitch your Revelers sometimes in the early game with Faithless Looting, and you just need those, loop engines to get back your Revelers in the mid to late game, where you can just kind of go off on your opponent as you have maybe 5 lands out. So you end step, get back Reveler, play Reveler, draw 3 cards, then you have more mana, and I just think everything comes together so smoothly. And what I didn't mention about Blood Moon is that once you play it on turn 3, and if you've set up your mana correctly with at least a swamp in there, then every land you play comes in untapped. Your Blackleaf Cliffs, your fetches that now you don't have to take damage from, they're just mountains. And I've never been so happy to play a mountain. This feels like one of those Blood Moon decks that really, I'm really happy that I'm playing Blood Moon. When I'm playing Blue Moon, my Cryptic Commands cost 3 islands. So that makes things really tricky sometimes. But Blood Moon in this deck just works so well. And again, I know that not everyone plays Blood Moon. I know it's not in everyone's Mardu Pyromancer build, but for me, I think this is a card that really ties the deck together. And then, of course, Lingering Souls are insane. It's a value pitch to Faithless Looting, and it's a clock. It's an instant sorcery in the yard for Bedlam Reveler, and it's incredible in the grind against decks like John. In terms of the sideboard, I will say that we didn't use much of it. We used a bit of Molten Rains, a bit of Liliana's. We got Leyline of the Void out in match 2 against Grixis Shadow, and Engineer Explosives also wasn't horrible against Elves, but obviously wasn't great in that certain scenario, but it could be great. We didn't get to use our Cumball package or our Stony Silence package, and that's okay. I think if you dodge the decks where you need those, you're fine. In fact, we do better against not those decks. I mean, Affinity is probably in our favor, but it can be a little close sometimes depending on the draws. So having like a card like Stony Silence out of the board can be really great. But my point is, you know, there's a lot of Tron, there's a lot of Cart Clan Ironworks right now, and I played a few leagues with this deck, and I got pretty sick losing to Tron. Not to say that, like, you know, you can tune this deck to beat Tron, because I think even if you draw all your Molten Rains, all your Stonies, all your Blood Moons, there's still a chance Tron gets you. However, I think you can still tune your deck to beat a specific metagame, and Magic Online has a ton of Tron, a ton. So instead of just like dropping every match I get against Tron, I have a sideboard plan that can actually beat them in some worlds, right? With some draws. Whereas I don't feel like I'm losing that many percentage points by not playing cards like Ensnaring Bridge, or the Second Engineer Explosives, or Hazaret, or other alternatives to Stony Silence, and Molten Rain. But overall, I think I covered most of what I wanted to talk about the deck to wrap things up. Overall, the deck performed smoothly. Obviously, you got some clunkers, clunky openers sometimes, you know, but Faithless Looting usually brings those openers together. It never feels that great to Faithless Looting on turn 1, like on the play after a mulligan, but sometimes you just have to do that depending on your curve, as we saw, I think, against Jund, was it? I can't quite remember. There was like a turn I went looting into Pyromancer into Blood Moon. Maybe that was against Elves. I don't quite remember at this point. But essentially, sometimes you just have to get there sometimes like that. Anyways, I think that's all I have. If you watched everything, thank you so much. This was my first video I've done in a while, and again, it's a non-blue deck, so I hope I don't scare too many of you fans away. But hopefully, I can also reach new viewers this way too, to show you guys, hey, I play different decks. I am branching out. And I am enjoying some of the Tier 1 decks in Modern, like Mardu Pyromancer. I think the deck is great. I think it's very rewarding. And I think it's, you can argue well-positioned, not well-positioned. There's a lot of Tron, a lot of other stuff. But even so, this deck just feels like it does inherently powerful things, and it has answers to what your opponent does while making your opponent answer what you have. And I think that's really important. That was my issue with Jeskai Control, is that, yeah, sometimes my answer lined up, but I wasn't pressuring my opponent. I wasn't saying, hey, you got to kill me because I got this, unless I drew my Click or Teferi or whatever, The point is this deck is packed with threats, packed with powerful cards, and it's all tied together. Not to say I don't like Jeskai. I'm still a huge Jeskai fan. As you can see, most of the decks that I have built are blue-white / Jeskai decks. But in general, I really have been enjoying this deck, and I do hope to play it more. Hopefully in a competitive league next time you see me. Okay, so that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon, hopefully.